What's up, YouTube? Jeff Steele here with SteelNavigator, and today I wanted to shoot a video on 5 things you might not know about the Jeep XJ. A few features and one thing in particular. So one item that's in the manual is information in regards to a lock and rear end that came from the factory, a mechanical lock and rear end. It's called the track lock rear axle. The manual says the optional track lock rear axle provides a constant driving force to both rear wheels and reduces wheel spin caused by the loss of traction at one driving wheel. If traction differs between the two rear wheels, the differential automatically proportions the usable torque by providing more torque to the wheel that has traction. Track lock is especially helpful during slippery driving conditions. With both rear wheels on a slippery surface, a slight application of the accelerator will supply maximum traction. When starting with only one rear wheel on an excessively slippery surface, slight momentary application of the parking brake may be necessary to gain maximum traction. So I've seen a couple of YouTube videos showing how to find out if you have track lock. I found out by hitching up to a trailer that was loaded that was a little heavy on the tail end of the trailer, and so it lifted the rear end of the Jeep up a little bit. So I started out, as soon as I put the Jeep in gear, with a little bit of wheel spin on my right side, and that only occurred for a moment, and the driver's side wheel then engaged and the Jeep moved forward. I've also seen videos where people will jack up one side of the rear end and will then apply throttle, and of course the tire elevated will then start to spin, and then the other side on the ground will start to spin and engage and will drive the Jeep right off the jack. So that's another way to test if you have track lock. I've also heard that they can be damaged and not working properly. So you might have it and it just not be working properly. So one thing to think about. Another item, which I didn't know for the longest time when I had the Jeep, is that the dome lights in the Jeep, as you can see they're currently off, can be turned on here, which is nice, and I didn't know about that until a year or two after I'd had the Jeep. And in regards to turning the dome lights on, the light switch here, you turn it to the left and that will turn the dome lights off, and then click it to the right. Well, it's not going to go off because I got the door open, but so left is on and right will turn them off. So sometimes we want to know what our gear ratio is. If we don't order a vehicle from the factory, we might not know what the gear ratio is, especially if we're going to have a Jeep for off-road purposes. We want a little bit lower gear, maybe 411s or even higher. So if you don't know what gear ratio your Jeep is, there's a way to find out. And I didn't know about this till a couple of years after I had this Jeep. I was replacing a gasket on the differentials, and on the right side of the differential on the front, I don't remember if it's on the rear too, but on the front, on the right hand side, there is a little plate. You might have to clean it off to see it, but it will show your gear ratio there. Of course the front's the same as the rear, and this particular model the gear ratio is 355s, and it does say that. So if you want to know the gear ratio, that's one way to find out. So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I got one more to go. So usually these Jeeps, they came with 225 size tires. You can get a bigger tire without having to cut out anything, and to not have to worry about scrubbing when you cut the wheel all the way. And the size that I have, it's a bigger tire. It looks a hell of a lot better, I think. These tires are 235, 75, or 15s. So I believe that's the next size up versus the 225 I believe they come stock with. And I don't have any issues with scrubbing, and I might have lost 0.2 miles per gallon by going this bigger tire. So not much at all. Ride quality is good. I'm still averaging 17.7 in the city when I was averaging, I believe, 18.2 before. But the tires before, they were the same size, but they were the road tread versus the all-terrain. So there we are, 5 things you might not have known about the Jeep XJ. Like, subscribe, comment down below. What other things do you know about the Jeep XJ that I might not have mentioned that are sort of unknown features or things that are good to know? Thank you for watching and have a great day.